Joining us now is Los Angeles real estate agent Nikko Santo Pietro. He works for the agency which was featured on Bravo's $1 Million Listing in LA. You might recognize him from that. Also the son of Vanna White. Great to have you here. Are you seeing landlords? I'm seeing today landlords are already price gouging vulnerable families. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, so first let's get into the definition of what price gouging actually is. Price gouging originally was enacted in 1994 after the Northridge earthquakes. It's under Penal Code 396, its subsections B and C, and it basically says that anything over a 10% increase in value post the state of emergency declaration is price gouging. There's other definitions as well, which I'm happy to get into with you. But yes, what we saw originally, now we've seen the best in people and we've also seen the worst in people during this disaster. And in some circumstances, which fortunately they're rarer circumstances, we are seeing landlords and agents charging astronomical numbers for rent.
Give me some examples.
Yeah, I mean, you can look in Zillow and see the price histories of certain listings. And before the fires, they had been on the market for, let's say, 50 days at $8,000 for a rental here in Los Angeles. And then post, the fires breaking out a day or two in after the fires, you're looking at prices that have gone up to $14,000. In some cases, listings were $35,000 sitting on the market, and they've gone all the way up to $80,000, which is it's inhumane. It's not right morally. It's illegal. And we're awaiting information from the Department of Real Estate as well as the Attorney General to understand exactly what is allowed and what is not allowed. So right now it is a gray area, and we're operating under what Gavin Newsom gave us.
But why is it a gray area? If you know that the cap is you can't raise it more than 10%, you just cited two examples, one more than doubled, the other nearly doubled.
No, it's absolutely, it's an area that's dynamic. It's very different from the Northridge earthquakes in 1994. Back then, supply was fairly abundant. As you probably know, in the housing market today, the supply is so limited. So I could only imagine what this will do to the prices. And I'm already seeing a huge surge in demand for my own business. It's devastating. It's terrible. But the gray area really is what is allowed and what is not. So when I talked with our legal team, they told me that we are still awaiting orders and direction for what will be considered price gouging and what won't. So obviously our job as agents is to protect the clients that we work with, whether it's a tenant or a landlord, and do the right thing by the law.
But help me out here. If you've been told by the governor that prices can only go up to 10%, and you clearly have properties all over the place that are going up 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%, isn't that a clear violation?
Yeah, of course, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't really interpret the law and advise, but a real estate attorney would be able to. Now, in my mind, from an agent's perspective, it's morally wrong, first of all. And second of all, if I'm looking at what the governor has said about a 10% price increase post-disaster being something that would be considered price gouging, of course, I would never advise a client to raise their rents anything over that. In fact, what we're seeing when I go into the MLS, which is essentially it's the Zillow for agents, what I've seen a lot of is sometimes I see price reductions, and in most cases I see the price just staying the same. And in some rarer cases, I see people with blatant price gouging, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, it really is. Do you think landlords, property owners, listen, it's all, we're taught in economics class, it's supply and demand. And now we've had an event, a horrific, awful event in LA County, wherein the supply of homes, both to buy and to rent, has been drastically, dramatically reduced. And yet there are still the same number of people who are desperately looking for a place to stay. Will landlords, do you think? Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.